Hey, what's up guys? In this week's episode of 5 Minute Fridays, we're going to be taking a look at the Uniden R3 and what it takes to add arrows to this detector. Now, this is one of the most commonly requested features that you guys have been asking about for this detector, and it totally makes sense. There's other detectors that offer arrows, but they don't have the level of performance that the R3 does, and so then the natural question is like, hey, I would love the R3 and its performance, but I also want the arrows too. I want the best of both worlds. How can we do that? Now, the answer to this question, we're going to be covering it in two parts. For the first part, we're going to be talking about whether or not Uniden can maybe update the R3 just with a firmware update that you can download and then add arrows. The answer to that is no, it doesn't work that way. And the reason that's the case is if you take a look at any detector that offers arrows, the way that it works is it has not just one front-facing antenna, but it also has a second rear-facing antenna. Take a look at the Max 360C and you'll see the same thing. We've got one primary antenna, a secondary rear-facing antenna. If you buy a remote mount detector, if you want arrows, you have to buy the optional rear-facing antenna. And the way arrows work and how they determine direction is they're basically taking a look at the signal strength from the front and from the rear and saying, where is it stronger? Is it stronger ahead? I'll light up the front antenna. Is it stronger behind? I'll light up the rear antenna. Are they pretty similar and close in signal strength? I'll light up these side antennas. It's a little bit more complicated than that to avoid any sort of ghosting and bouncy arrow issues. And, you know, sometimes the main front-facing antenna is larger and oftentimes more sensitive than the rear-facing antenna, and so they have to compensate accordingly. But that's the general idea. Two antennas, compare the signal strength, and boom, there's your arrows. Now, with the Uniden R3, it only has one front-facing antenna. It can detect signals from behind. You know, if it's coming from behind, it can pick it up, or maybe that signal hits an object up ahead, maybe a semi or something, or a sign, and bounces into the front antenna, but it has no way of determining direction. All it knows is I'm seeing a signal. I can tell you what band it is, what frequency it is, how strong it is when it goes away, but I have no idea where the signal is coming from. I can see a signal, but I don't know where it's coming from. That's why the rear antenna is necessary, and so Uniden can't just issue a firmware update for the detector and add arrows. If you take a look at the Escort Max 360, for example, that was the successor to the Max 2. The Max 2 had one front-facing antenna, and then Escort added a rear antenna, created the Max 360, and the 360 had arrows. And so if you want to be able to do arrows, you have to have a hardware update that adds a physical rear antenna. That's the case. Now, the logical question is going to be like, okay, well, Uniden has kind of hit it out of the park with the R3. Great performance, features, price point, all that kind of stuff. Are they going to be adding arrows to the R3 and calling it an R5 or an R7 or whatever name they call, but a new detector with arrows based on the same platform? Now, that's pretty much a no-brainer for them to do. You know, to take a detector like this and to add arrows, you know, given the fact that the patent that Valentine had has since expired, which is why Escort can do that, Uniden could do it just the same. And so rumor has it they're actually working on developing an R3 with arrows, kind of like a new hardware change, a new detector. Now, don't expect it in the immediate future or anything. It's one of those things that does take time to develop, and, you know, make sure that it works right and your arrows are accurate and they flip properly when you pass the source and all that kind of stuff. So it takes time to develop, but again, rumor has it that they are working on it and it's going to be released sometime in the future. For those of you guys wondering, should I get an R3 now? Should I wait for the one with arrows? Personally, I think you're great. You know, go ahead and get the detector now. You can always sell it if you need to, or keep it as a backup detector. Personally, I'm really happy with the R3 now, and I love watching it develop and improve, and then Uniden can take all the improvements that they're adding to the R3 and then, you know, transfer them over to the R3 with arrows. And so, kind of nice actually having the detector in the meantime and running it now, enjoying it, and then when it does come out, at that point you could always upgrade, and again, you could always sell this online or whatever you like, you know. So yeah, again, rumor has it they are working on that. It would totally make sense. Maybe don't hold your breath for it, but yeah, they're working on it, and we'll have to see eventually whenever that comes out. I think that's going to be an awesome detector. I wish I had a little bit more information and detail for you, but that's kind of all I have at this point. Just rumor is they're working on it, and don't expect it in the immediate near future. But yeah, there you go. That's what it would take to add arrows to the R3. Let me know what you guys would like to talk about for next week's episode of 5 Minute Fridays. So just leave a comment down below, and I'll pick one of them, and we'll cover it next week. Awesome. Thanks so much. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.